Well, on Sunday, we had the opportunity to talk a little bit about having devoted homes. And as we were preparing, we were planning on doing something that we didn't quite have time for. And I wanted to be able to have Pastor Jordan come in and just share for a couple of minutes. Now, I joke that Jordan doesn't have teenagers. Okay, so there's lots of stuff that he doesn't know. He's not a parent of a teenager, but he spends a lot of time with middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so I thought there's probably a few things that you see as patterns, when it comes to middle schoolers, high schoolers, that maybe you could help parents understand as it pertains to just growing in their faith and what are kids really needing in this season of our culture. And so we'd love to just have you be able to share a few of those thoughts that you have.
Totally. Well, I think kind of one of the first things is addressing, I don't have a teenager, but one of the things that I would say students really benefit from and students really, I think, honestly need is they need adults in their life that aren't their parents, that are leading them and guiding them and can kind of be a role model and example. And so through being a youth pastor and through youth leaders, we have an opportunity to see students in that space all the time. To be someone that a student can hopefully open up to about difficult things that they're going through, because we all remember being teenagers. Talking to your parents about things sometimes was just the most awkward thing possible.
Teenagers don't tell their parents everything?
Not everything.
Shocker.
I know. We all forget about that part when we were teenagers, but they don't tell us everything. And so to be able to have adult leaders there, I feel like we get, obviously parents get to see their teenagers way more, but there are times and areas where we get to see teenagers in maybe a more vulnerable situation because teenagers know that they need guidance and then they need something. And so through being a youth leader, that's one of the things that I just encourage parents with the most is that your students need that. And so by bringing your student and prioritizing things like youth group, you give your student a resource in their life. And the percentage of students that the way that the rest of their life changes in the future when they have an adult leader pouring into them that's not their parent is dramatic. And then when you multiply that by it's an adult leader that's also pointing them towards the Lord. And hopefully with all our leaders and all our goals is we're trying to come alongside you as parents. And so we'll have conversations with students where they're like, my parents just don't understand me. They just don't get it. And what we get the opportunity to do is to say, hey, we see you.
Your parents aren't as dumb as you think they are.
Exactly, but your parents are actually trying to look out for what's best for you. And so that's what I would just say first thing to parents is that raising teenagers is hard. I was a teenager. I had 3 younger brothers. I got to see all of them as teenagers when I was older. It's difficult, and we want to be able to help you in that journey of not really raising, but hopefully maturing and discipling and leading your student in relationship closer to the Lord.
Yeah. When I think about that, my kids, I got some teenagers now, but even when they were a little bit younger, whenever I would see another adult or leader speak things into their life and they'd say the stuff that I normally would say, I'm just like cheering them on.
Yeah.
Keep going there, keep going there. And I think our students need that. Like I already see that with my kids. There's times where they are not listening to me. Like they're hearing the words I'm saying, but they are not receiving the things that I'm saying. And so having other voices, it's got to be huge. Yeah. You talked a little bit about, just teens needing to feel like they're being heard in some way.
Yeah, and I think that that's really the biggest thing. For all of us, when we look back and we remember being teenagers, you always had this feeling of like, my parents don't understand me, my parents don't get me. Then you grow up and you realize my parents actually were trying to do what's best for me. Yeah. But in that moment, you still felt my parents don't understand. And it's because teenagers are going through this rapid growth and development in their life. It's probably one of the most influential time periods of their life. And it's not easy. And I think sometimes us being on the other side of teenagers forget how difficult it actually is to be a teenager and to be growing through this, trying to discover who you are and all of this pressure that you can even feel sometimes. And really what a teenager is looking for, a middle school, high school student, is they're looking to feel seen. They're looking to be heard. And I think sometimes for parents, they want to be able to balance the I see you and also I'm the parent and the adult, and so this is what you need to do. And it's attention to balance, but I think that's a thing that would drastically improve every parent's relationship with their child is if even in situations where your teenager comes to you and they say, oh, can I go spend the night or go out to this friend's house on Friday night or whatever, you as a parent can have all of your real reasons why the answer is no. But even just that communication, that openness with your student of saying, hey, I understand this is something that you would like to do. I have reasons why we're not going to do that, and here's why. And your teenager is probably still going to be a teenager most times. And they're probably still going to be upset. But what you can begin to do in that pattern is begin to sow the seed of validation, where you can just say, hey, I hear you, I understand what you're feeling. As the adult, I still have to make these decisions, and here's why. But that's what we get to do with youth leaders, is we get to just be a place for students to feel heard, to feel seen. And I think that that's obviously what parents are trying to do as well. And one of the things that teenagers now are experiencing more of than even we were when we were teenagers and parents were when they were teenagers is that all of the insecurity and development and growth and comparison that is natural and normal with being a teenager is only 10 times multiplied right now through social media. Yay. I know, it's amazing. And so I would really encourage parents to have conversations about social media with their students, but also know and also understand that there are harmful things in the world. And it's not even that they're going to see bad things, but sometimes the comparison that every teenager feels is just going to be magnified on social media. They're going to see what their friends are doing. They're going to see what someone they sit in a math class with but don't actually really know what their life is like. And they can have all of these comparisons come in. And that's where that validation and that being seen and heard really starts to make that impact. Because they are going to know that their parents are the people that see them and champion them. And so celebrating things in your teenagers is one of the best things that you can do. Celebrate their accomplishments, celebrate the interests that they have, the things that they like, the things that make their brain kind of grind a little bit. Find out what those things are about your teenager and then celebrate those things, but also really having that ear and that mindset of compassion in the way that my teenager is experiencing all of the difficult things that I experienced and more because of the way that the world is right now.
Yeah, I'm 43 now. So I think about having to go through middle school and high school with the extra stuff they're dealing with now. I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. Yeah. I'm 43 years old. And yet at the same time, I look at my kids, I'm like, I really feel bad that they have to walk through some of the stuff they have to.
For sure.
But that's why I think one of the beauties of the church is supposed to be that in a world where it's all compare, toxic cultures, toxic environments, we want to build the kind of environment. I know it's your heart. You know, you talk always about youth being a family. Like you want to build a community here for our teenagers where they are loved and valued for who they are, not having to compare with one another. Yeah. And so, so we just say to you guys, if you've got a teenager, these are some things that you can practically do, but even beyond that, I would encourage you to make sure your youth are a part of our program here at ZOE, because I think that they're going to find community, and I think they're going to find leaders who are pointing them to Jesus, leaders who are affirming you as a parent in your role, and just being another voice in your kid's life and in helping them through probably what's one of the most difficult seasons of your entire life. And ultimately, what we want to see with all of our youth is we want to see 18-year-olds who passionately love Jesus and who have kind of a proper understanding of what the church is all about.
Exactly. And
so I'm grateful for everything you do to lead our youth, and we hope that you continue to kind of persevere, man. It's really hard being a parent sometimes. Just keep persevering, keep running after it, because ultimately those seeds that you're sowing are going to reap a harvest someday. So we love you guys.